guys, welcome back with another episode of BetterTech, where we invite people, industry leaders, and visionaries to share their experiences and make us aware and make us know more about where the industry is headed. So today we have Patrick with us, Patrick Bangert, and Patrick has an extensive experience in AI, and it was interesting to know that he started from a very solid background in mathematics, actually. So, Patrick, how about we start by knowing more about yourself? How did you get into this business?
Yeah, so thank you, first of all, for having me on the show. And thank you to all the listeners out there for taking out your time to hear this. I'm Patrick. I started out being interested in how the world works, so I signed up for a theoretical physics degree, then progressed to doing a PhD in mathematics AI. That was in the last AI winter when AI was mostly considered a failed technology. We got lucky since then. AI is somehow popular nowadays. It made a few successes. So I've been in that industry for 25 years now. I was a professor at a German university for a while about this topic, started my own business to bring AI to the oil and gas industry, working on things like predictive maintenance and process optimization. Eventually transitioned to lead the AI division at Samsung for 3 years. And in the last 5 months, I've joined Seance, professional services organization, where we do consulting around both data analytics and AI.
Right. So how are you? So it's a services company, professional services company, right?
Yes.
And so typically what we have found is that identifying an appropriate use case for AI is usually difficult, or it's not very obvious. So how do you provide this consulting, and how do you make it possible that your customers know the appropriate ROI for the thing that you're proposing them?
Yeah, so AI is a tool, like a wrench or a screwdriver, right? You don't go to a DIY shop and buy a screwdriver in order to own a screwdriver. You buy it in order to solve some kind of mechanical problem that you have at home. So with AI, if you're approaching AI as in AI is this fancy new toolbox, I want to definitely apply it somewhere. Let me look for somewhere in my organization where I can apply it. Then that's putting the cart before the horse, right? So we should look for, what challenges do I have in my business? What do I want to do in my business that's different from the past? And then I can ask, is AI the right tool for that? In many cases, it may not be. In some cases, it will be. And then great. Let's apply AI to it. So I think that's the right way around to be thinking about it. Now, AI has been around for a long time, 7 to 8 decades. AI is not new. So AI is a very well-established field, and AI is a word like car. It's a well-defined area, but there are very, very different things that fall into that category. So you can have, a very small car that gets you from A to B, or you can have a very fancy sports car that makes a statement. And yes, it does also get you from A to B, but that's not its main purpose, right? Again, AI is the same. These technologies do specific things, and you may or may not need them. So do you need a forecast in time? That's one technology. Do you need something recognized out of an image? That's another technology. They both happen to be AI. Generative AI, of course, is the latest topic. There are many, many benefits to generative AI. Now, the one thing to realize is that all of the use cases of generative AI that are actually helpful are around the office. So generative AI is necessarily agnostic to your industry vertical. It will not help much in your manufacturing plant, in the driving around in your supply chain, in the hospital when you're doing your medicine. Where it will help is for everybody who sits behind a desk. And then it can automate the workflow. It can help you writing text, whether it's in a human language or in a computer programming language. It can help you deal with images, with videos. It can do something called enterprise search, which is to offer you a conversational interface to all of the documents that your company has, which is probably the single most useful use case for generative AI. So it can do many things. And ultimately, the estimation in the industry is that it will get you approximately a 30% productivity gain across your office workers. Now, if you want to bring AI to physical workflows, that is, to the manufacturing plant, to the fleet and the logistics company, to the actual patient interacting phase in a healthcare life cycle, then you're talking about other types of AI. What some people are calling legacy AI, non-generative AI that has a very specific target. And there are many, many useful use cases there too. And again, there we're looking at maybe a 20% productivity gain in the physical sphere. So AI really is a staircase technology in terms of productivity and profitability of businesses, pretty much irregardless of what industry vertical you're in. Of course, some, like retail, are already fairly advanced in this journey. And some industries, like healthcare, are essentially now starting to think about it, but haven't yet deployed it very much.
Right. So, are you incorporating AI within your own organization also? I mean, I know that you guys provide consulting around this, but are you ingesting it also within your own organization, different functions?
Absolutely. We eat our own dog food. So we are doing that around the organization. So one of the popular use cases is to draft documents, as I said, both in human language and in computer programming language. So we're using both of those. We're getting reports written by Gen AI. We're getting computer programs written by Gen AI. Carefully note, of course, that neither of those are ready to be sent to anybody. They have to be corrected and checked by a real human being. But it does give you that productivity gain. We do enterprise search. We have a great many documents, both text documents, slides, videos, recorded audio conversations, etc. Every possible type of document in the organization. Enterprise search gives us one chat-like interface to the entire collective of those documents, with data governance enabled, by the way. So if I ask a question and I'm not entitled to know the answer, or I'm not entitled to get access to the source document behind it, then the Gen AI will not provide that to me either. But if I do have access, then it will, right? So security, privacy, governance is baked into this process. So we do that for ourselves as well. And those two use cases have provided us with a tremendous productivity gain inside our own work.
Right. And what kind of challenges did you face by doing this? And the challenges in adapting and convincing others, like the cultural challenges or any technical challenges?
Right, that's the usual triangle between people, process, and technology. Technology is almost never the problem. And again, we're a services company, so we don't make any of this technology. We use third-party technologies to make this happen for us. They work just fine. It's people and process that are the question marks, so to speak. With people, you just have to convince them that first and foremost, we will not fire you.
Yeah.
And that is a very important discussion. There is a lot of research, by the way, that every single human being performs in their job somewhere between 30 and 60 tasks on a regular basis. And only about 4 or 5, again, on average, of those tasks can be automated using AI. The others just don't amend themselves to automation by AI. Those tasks are either, partly physical, then you'd have to get a robot. That doesn't quite work. Or those tasks involve exceptions, rare circumstances, emergencies of some kind. And of course, AI is only good at normal things, regular things that it can be trained on. AI is terrible at exceptions and emergencies. And so the ultimate punchline of all this is to say that AI is an assistance to humans, but it cannot get rid of humans, right? So if your business case is, I'm going to bring in AI and fire a bunch of people, there's a fundamental problem here. That is a good case to reassure our workforce, both our workforce at my own company, but also at our client companies, to say, okay, people, you are safe. And therefore, based on that, we'd like to motivate you to actually use this stuff. And hey, look how cool it is. Let's experiment. Then you have process, which is to say, individuals using Gen AI tools individually gives them a certain amount of productivity gain, not the 30% that I was talking about. You only get to the 30% if you have processes in place that allow teams of people to mutually use these Gen AI tools together to achieve that productivity gain. And for that, then you have to institute some change management on a human level to get people to use that together in the appropriate way so that the workflows are more streamlined and automated.
Right. Yeah, it's not very good at handling the exceptions. You're very right. So since you have a mathematics background, so I was thinking that, and especially stats guys, they used to be the data science used to be like statistical process control, SPC, and variances, and finding mean, median, mode, and those kinds of things. And industry was, so with this AI and ML, like, is this like overshadowing all of these old concepts? Are they not no more relevant for data science? Or do you think those are very important, but because of the publicity on AI ML, those are probably the new guys who are discovering AI ML, they are not even considering the regular mathematical processing and just going for AI ML. So what are your observations around this?
Yeah, so first of all, the generative AI that we're talking about mostly these days are based on what are called large language models. And so the keyword is language, right? These are language models. They're not numerical models of any kind. And so they are not a competitor at all to statistical process control. They just do different things. You can't, it's apples and oranges. So you cannot get rid of statistical process control and bring in Gen AI. It would be a complete failure. What you can do is substitute statistical process control with model predictive control. That is a competitor, but that is not generative AI. That is again legacy AI, right? AI older than 1 year from today. It's a well-established technology, model predictive control, by which we, again, use a database of numbers to correctly model whatever process gives rise to those numbers, to forecast that into the future and to adapt the model accordingly. That is more machine learning than statistics. And because it's adapted to what has actually occurred in the past based on real life measurements from nature, those models are more accurate, and therefore model predictive control generally is more accurate and therefore more optimized to physical processes than statistical process control therefore does better. And there are multiple vendors that will sell you model predictive control.
Right. So we are confident enough to use these predictive controls instead of the regular SPC, even in life-threatening situations, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be our future, right?
I think so. In industrial settings, I think this is the future to a quite significant extent. It is already the present. So I know of multiple petrochemical, oil and gas companies that are using model predictive control for the last couple of years already. And it is safe.
Right. So with all this capability that has evolved in last 5 to 10 years, I know I also have 26 years of experience. I graduated in 97, and that time we did study some AI, but obviously it did not it was not in fashion. The AI, it looks like for the current generation, they will think that AI was invented 5 or 10 years ago, but it's a very old technology. So how do you see now? Now it has multiple dimensions to it, like generative also and the classical AI also. So where do you see the whole industry, especially the services industry, going with this? So will we be overwhelmed with work, and what kind of areas will be more adapted, and what will not get adapted as the other area?
Yeah, I think that especially through the generative AI context, AI has once again arrived at a conversation on the C-level of virtually every company. Statements are being made like, if you don't adapt this in the next couple of years, your company will be obsolete and out of business. That might be slightly over the top, as usual. But these are very active conversations with virtually every company on the planet. And so I think the service industry is looking at a boom through this, trying to bring those technologies to the companies, anchor them correctly. It will need some, of course, deep technical expertise, but we should not ignore the people and process part of the deployments as usual. So far, 9 out of 10 AI projects fail. And they don't fail because the tech doesn't work. They fail because of change management. They fail to bring business value, right? Because of change management generally, not because of the technology. So we, the service industry, do have to watch out for that and not be overly techie. I think that's the catch for us, right? If we try to be too techie, we will fail. Humans are there. So, but I see that I would say in the next 3 to 5 years, a number of industries that have so far been sitting on the fence, and I'm primarily looking at healthcare here, will convert significantly to AI-based workflows. And that will lead to a great deal of business. So McKinsey is estimating, $2 trillion added to the global economy based on Gen AI alone. So that's a huge business for all of us. So I see that moving forward steadily. Although, like Gartner likes to say with their hype cycle, and Gen AI is at the top of the hype cycle. So we will enter a trough of disillusionment in the near future. And I'm thinking 2024 is that trough of disillusionment. So be prepared for some gnashing of teeth in the coming 12 months as many companies discover that Gen AI is not the panacea to all problems, but it is only the panacea for some problems.
Right. So any last words of caution? For example, you said that it's such a low success rate, and thinking from customer success perspective, how do you see, and what will you advise to the consultants? Because this is pretty high failure rate for AI or ML projects. So what do you suggest to the customer success guys? How should they guide their customers? How to manage change? What are your experiences around those areas? How to make it successful?
Desmond, my first advice is don't focus on AI. AI is a tool. Focus on whatever the challenge of your customer is. And if AI is the appropriate tool, great, use it. If the AI is not the appropriate tool, forget it. Take whatever is the appropriate tool for it, but focus on that. Secondly, determine the business value. I've been part of projects where the customer was very enthusiastic about using AI to solve a particular challenge. And everyone, including the customer and the consultant, forgot about checking what it's worth in financial business terms. And it turned out that it was a fantastic science solution to a real problem, but it wasn't worth anything.
Right.
So when it came down to it, the customer did not pay for the solution. It was abandoned, and again, a failure. So aside from what is the challenge and is AI the right solution to it, watch out for, if we get it right, and if we actually solve this problem, what's the upside? And then of course,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Keep focus on the solution, solving the problem rather than the tech you're using to solve the problem.
Yeah. And number three would be keep the long term in mind. Anything and everything like this has to be maintained. And so keep the cost of maintenance over the years in mind. Models change. If you get third-party models, they will be versioned and will change. You will have to redo certain pieces of work every once in a while. If you train your own models based on proprietary customer data, you will have to retrain them every few weeks or months. That will be at a cost. So keep those life cycle costs in mind.
Great. Thank you so much, Patrick, for being with us on this talk. And it is a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.